What's up, hungry people? Today we're getting our eat on in Indonesia. A few weeks ago, my husband and I had the opportunity to take a spontaneous trip to Indonesia. So we packed our bags and hopped on a flight from Cleveland to Southeast Asia. If you want to see what it's like to dine in first class, check out my latest video where I'm served some of the wildest dishes you'll ever see on a plane. And don't forget to subscribe so you can check out all of the incredible foods we ate on our latest foodie adventure to Bali and beyond. If you like these travel type videos, hit that thumbs up so I know what kind of content you want to see more of in the future. We arrived in Jakarta after over 30 hours of traveling and made our way to the Gandaria City Mall where we were staying at the Sheraton Hotel. At this point, it was technically 12 a.m. and we were absolutely famished, so we ordered room service of spring rolls and satay, two Indonesian staples, before passing out for the night. Since the first part of our trip was actually a work trip for my husband, I spent most of the week hanging around the hotel and getting massages. Plus, jet lag was absolutely killing me, so the more time I got to spend sleeping, the better I felt. The hotel itself was a 5-star luxury hotel with the most extensive buffet I have ever seen. Indonesian breakfasts aren't like the ones in the hotels here in America. In Jakarta, you'll see everything from bacon and eggs to ramen and roast duck. It's a true dim sum wonderland. As someone who grew up loving curry and spicy food, seeing the range of authentic Indonesian and Indian food in front of me first thing in the morning was only a little bit overwhelming. The fresh fruit juice is to die for, even if it is served room temperature. I couldn't decide what I wanted to eat, so I piled everything from breakfast potatoes to samosas onto my plate for breakfast. The hotel staff remembered my drink order every morning, a vanilla latte, and would even save the seats by the window for us because we were staying for so long. We did eat a lot of our meals here at the hotel, mostly out of convenience for myself while my husband had to go to work, but the meals definitely never disappointed. They would even bring in local caterers so that the menu was completely different every single day. We also spent a majority of our time exploring the adjacent mall, Gandaria City. In Jakarta, a majority of your time is going to be spent in a mall. It's insanely hot and humid outside, so the malls provide an essential escape. Plus, everything you need is inside the malls, so it's not exactly strange to say, I went to Indonesia and I spent 95% of my time in the mall. We either ate at the hotel or in a mall for every meal, because that's the way you do it when you're in Jakarta. We went to 3 different malls, but they all look mostly the same inside. The malls basically occupy multiple city blocks. You can literally spend your entire day in a single mall and still not see the entire thing. At Gandaria City, we went to Remboelan, an Indonesian soul food spot, and officially the first time in my life that I got to try real Indonesian food. Nasi goreng is the national dish of Indonesia, so we prioritized that. We first tried nasi bakar ayam masak, which I already piled onto my plate here since all the dishes are served family style. It's grilled lemongrass rice wrapped in a banana leaf with shredded chicken and Indonesian herbs. And holy cow, it was spicy, but it was so insanely good. We also got nasi goreng Remboelan, which is the house special fried rice with smoked stingray, herbs, tangy pickles, and shrimp crackers. It was packed with smoky umami flavor, and the rice was perfectly tender. And it was the first time I had ever eaten stingray to boot. After dinner, we explored some of the more unique stores in the mall, which there were plenty of, before we found Poo ice cream. Naturally, the name is what drew us in. After sampling a few choices, I landed on a macaron ice cream cone, which was the absolutely perfect follow-up to our spicy dinner. The ice cream was creamy, but not overly sweet. My husband got an extra chocolatey flavor that was so chocolatey, it practically tasted warm in your mouth. It was incredible. Despite the fact that when I travel in the United States, I do everything I can to avoid malls and restaurants we can find at home, the food in Asia shares but a name with our chains. Take this Pizza Hut in Pondok, Indah, for example. Here in Indonesia, it's a high-end pizza parlor. They serve pizzas unlike anything we've ever concocted here in the States, such as the black crust meat monster pizza, which is topped with Frankfurter sausages, aka hot dogs, minced and smoked beef, cheese, and tangy cheese sauce. Plus, it has a stuffed crust with some of the meltiest cheese I have ever tasted. Naturally, I had to dip it in a spicy sambal, which was quickly becoming our new favorite sauce. Afterwards, we explored the mall a bit more before heading back to the hotel for the evening to enjoy cocktails and live music at the hotel bar, which quickly became the thing we did every evening because the drinks were strong and the music was fantastic. It was definitely a fun way to wrap up every evening during our stay in Jakarta. The next day for lunch, we went to Shaburi and Kintan Buffet. Similar in concept to fondue, here you can grill your own meats over a grill in the center of your table. We ordered everything from hot dogs to wagyu. The grill in the center of the table gets crazy hot and quickly cooks the thin slices of meat to perfection. Yes, I flew nearly 10,000 miles to cook my own lunch. You can customize your meal with different accompaniments from fruit and salad to noodles and rice. There's also a huge assortment of sauces to pair with your meat. There's also many options to create your own soup or ramen from scratch at the buffet too. Plus tons of dessert options to end your meal on a sweet note. After that, we explored the Grand Indonesian Mall in central Jakarta, where we found Hero Sushi for dinner. We split a roll that was topped with katsuobushi, also known as bonito or fermented tuna flakes, which is a pretty popular topping on many dishes in Southeast Asia. The following day, we made our way to Kota Tua, which is an old Dutch district, where we explored the ceramics museum. It was incredibly cool to see all of the old pottery and art left over from Dutch occupation. We even got to test out some self-powered turning wheels while our very bored pottery coach slept on in the background. The square of Kota Tua once held great festivals and still has cannonballs littering the streets from the days of old Batavia. From there, we made our way to SeaWorld, which is definitely more of a knockoff than an actual SeaWorld that we might think of in the States. If you like aquariums, it's alright, but there's a lot of upkeep to be done here, so honestly, I would skip this destination if you ever make it to Jakarta. Afterwards, we walked down to Ankle Beach to dip our toes in the Indian Ocean and then to catch a cab back to the hotel. That night for dinner, we decided to try Italian food in Indonesia. I think it's fun to experience how other cultures filter cuisine through their own lens, and the Indonesian take on Italian was phenomenal. For our starter, I had the freshest calamari I think I've ever tasted. Then I had a seafood pasta dish that had flavorful tomato diavolo sauce and perfectly al dente pasta. My hubby had a mushroom ravioli dish that he said was probably some of the best ravioli he had ever had in his entire life. This dinner was the perfect way to wrap up our week in Jakarta. The next day, we made our way to Bali. So be sure to subscribe if you want to join us on our adventures in Ubud and Uluwatu too. Bali is an incredible destination with some of the best foods I have ever tried. So you definitely don't want to miss out on the upcoming videos. After a whirlwind adventure of a lifetime, we hopped back on the plane to Jakarta, where we spent one more night in the hotel we had learned to call home and had a quick midnight meal of biryani and a spicy chicken sandwich to wrap up our trip. At 3 a.m., we then headed to the airport to board a plane for the long journey home. If you want to check out what we ate on our 48 hours trapped in a plane to and from Jakarta, tap the pop-up to fly along with us. And stay tuned for even more delicious foodie content from Bali coming your way soon. If you like this video, don't forget to flip that sub button and ring the dinner bell so you can be notified of my latest recipes and foodie adventures that I post almost weekly. And if you ever get hungry, head on over to thestarvingchefblog.com, where you can find recipes and more with step-by-step instructions. I hope you all enjoyed, and I can't wait for you to join me on our next adventure.